Hello, and welcome back to Couch Conversations. Today's live is going to be very interesting because y'all would not stop asking for Shelly V back, and Shelly V is back. And we nosy, but today she got all the tea. So without further ado, let's welcome Shelly V to the channel. Hi, Shelly.
Hi, Jen. How have you been?
I am excellent. How are you?
I'm blessed. It's so good to see you again. Thank you for having me back on your channel.
I know. And I mean, everyone was asking for you. You must have buttered them up last time because they're all like, we want a Shelly. And I'm like, y'all don't want Jen? Y'all want Shelly? Okay.
So what I am hearing is they're a glutton for punishment.
They want to know what's going on with your hair, girl. They want to know what happened to your split ends. They want to know what's going on in your scalp. They want all the tea.
We nosy and we want to know all the things. So I'm right with them. So
That's right. So how you been? You need to update us on the hair situation. But, how are you doing as a person? We care about that too.
Well, thank you. So I'm doing really good. It's been a little crazy to say the least, but overall, given the situation and just all that's transpired, I'm really in a good place, emotionally, mentally, and more importantly, my hair is in a really good place. So I'm really happy and thankful for that.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying?
And I mean, your hair's looking good. What's going on? What's going on right now?
I know. I've been waiting for you to say something about it being straight. like is Shelly leaving the curly girl world? What's going on?
I know. What's going on?
Well, I just wanted to change it up. I'm leaving the curly girl world. So my youngest daughter, Kennedy, she's 13. And, I'm trying to get her to fully embrace her curls and everything. And with that, she wanted to straighten her hair the other day. And she was like, Mom, I just feel so bad. I feel guilty. I feel like, all this stuff. And I was like, no, it's okay. So I straightened her hair, and in an effort to support her, because the whole reason why I went curly in the first place was to really show her that you can embrace your curls and show up beautiful and confident in the world. But I also want her to feel like it's okay to switch it up and wear it straight, wear it however you want. It's it's hair. It should be fun. So anyways, I did it for that reason. And then the nosy part of me wanted to see if my new hair care regimen that I've developed, if it's really working.
Okay.
That I'm getting my hair cut, if that's actually working. And then I wanted to check the length of it and see where that was, because it seems like it's really kind of taken off. So
yeah. Well, first of all, I love that. That's all I'm about. Wearing your natural hair proudly, confidently, showing up in the world the way that, the good Lord intended us to. I'm all about that. Yes. So I love that you're doing that for your family as well. With your hair right now, I have so many questions, but I feel like I'll just let you take it away. Because last time we talked, your hair was curly, your hair was in shambles, and you weren't very happy. But now it looks like you are, straightening your hair at your own will. She's flowing, she's giving body. So maybe you can walk us through a little bit for people who doesn't know you, I feel like maybe we should start from the beginning. Who is Shelly V? What happened to your hair? Why are you even on here? Why are we talking? Maybe we should start from the beginning for someone who has no idea who Shelly V is. Which, I don't know. If you don't know, you've really been under a rock a little bit. Or minding your business, which is fine.
Well, I mean, it's really simple. I'm just an everyday, normal, person who decided to transition into being a curly girl. And I was documenting my journey heavily, and I thought it'd be fun to document it in a more kind of formal way, I guess, online. And before I realized it, I became kind of like a content creator, influencer. But it was really just for the love of the curls. And then I realized early on in my journey, like a lot of women wanted to wear their curly hair, but they weren't quite sure how to, and doing the wash and go or whatever. So I became pretty good at that relatively quickly, but I had been curly also, which is important to note, in the early 2000s. So this wasn't my first rodeo. And so that's why I have so much documentation leading so far back. But anyways, it was my goal to then try and just, be a resource like in that space. So that's kind of how it all came about. And then, the rest is history. So
The rest is not history. We're living the rest right now. So
true.
you sent me a bunch of pictures, videos, etc., because you wanted to kind of illustrate what's going on with your hair as you talk
Yes.
about it. So let me work the technology real quick and
Yeah.
get that going because I want people to see. I'm a visual person. I like to see things. So I feel like other people will probably appreciate that too. So,
Yeah. I'm a very visual person as well. So,
all right, wait a minute. All right, so now we have. I think people are going to be able to see these pictures soon, and I want you to be able to see it. So, boom, boom, boom. All right, you'll probably get a notification to accept something.
okay.
All right, ready?
Yes.
So let's do this. So this is the picture that you sent me. The first set is your hair before you dropped oils and butters.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's important to note that I was never someone who used raw oils and butters. I played with it for like a hot second. It was like a hot potato. Like I was in and out really quick.
Okay.
So, and there's nothing wrong with raw oils and butters. Like if you like it, I love it. But I only played with it for like a hot second. So, um, right here is just, shampooing my hair weekly
Okay.
and deep conditioning, using a leave-in or a cream base styler underneath, like my gel styler or stylers.
Okay.
And then the picture where you see my hair straight was one of my last cuts on blown out hair prior to being introduced to curly cuts
Okay.
and transitioning into that. So the hair that you're seeing is actually what that cut pretty much translated into curly.
Okay. So quick question there. You were using gels, you said at that point, right?
Yes, I was using Eco Styler and Wetline Extreme Gel.
Okay. Ooh.
Yep.
Oh.
And I was deep conditioning weekly. And then, like I said, I was using like a leave-in or a cream-based leave-in, so to speak. Like sometimes it wasn't considered a leave-in, but it was very like thick and like a formulated butter or something like that.
Okay. So you were using thicker products.
Yeah.
And then somehow you transitioned from whatever you were doing, which sounded, I don't know, I guess typical, to
Yeah.
being introduced to the no oil and butter thing, which I guess doesn't have a formal name, but that's what we call it now. And
Yeah.
this is your hair looks like it grew a lot. So maybe you can tell us what's going on there.
Yeah. So this was the day after my very last curly cut appointment that I flew to Sacramento for. I had an amazing experience. I thought that she was great. She provided a wonderful service. But this is what my hair looked like after the fact. I love the cut. I really thought my hair was looking good, but I had started to notice that I was having like some texture changes in my hair, and that like the areas where you see my hair is really kind of drier looking. I don't know how to describe it other than that. That's where I was really starting to experience those texture changes because remember, I had literally just gotten my hair set less than 24 hours prior to taking these pictures.
Yeah, that's true. And usually when you get your hair done by a stylist, it feels good for like a week. At least for me, that's been my experience.
Um, To be honest on that front, my experience has always been a little bit different when I go to get going and getting my hair professionally done in a wash and go.
Mm-hmm.
They never lasted more than 2 to 3 days, and then I would have to reset my hair. But then I'm also kind of, type A. I feel like no one sets my hair better than me, you know? Uh, that's just being honest. So I never had an issue with the fact that I had to reset my hair, because the whole reason why I really was even showing up was to get my hair cut in its curly state and get that beautiful shape going. So,
Okay. So I guess
mhm.
when you said the areas that was a little texture, your texture change was happening more at your roots or like the middle of your hair.
So it was kind of happening sporadically all over. I was trying to decipher if whether or not there was like a pattern in it, like a growth pattern, because I was like, is my hair growing in like this? Like, is this, something going on internally? But I'm a nutrition and strength coach. I have a whole business around it. And one of the areas that I specialize in is hormone, balancing out the hormones and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really big on getting blood work, because it's just important to know what's going on internally. And
Yeah.
so I had just gotten blood work prior to that, and I went back and got additional blood work just to check everything. And I'm really good at reading blood work, kind of nerdy in that realm. And my blood work was pristine. Like, there was nothing in it that pointed to there were any issues. And because the texture changes was, I mean, it was just kind of throughout my head in a non-pattern type of way, if that makes sense. I was like, something is not right, but I couldn't figure out what it was.
Okay.
And so I thought it was a hooded dryer, and so I started pulling back on that, and yeah. So
So then now we're looking at your blow dried. So when you figured something was off, is that why you, okay, wait, no, no, no. Why did you decide to blow dry your hair in these pictures? I guess that's the question I want to ask.
So I had noticed that my hair was becoming increasingly difficult to detangle when I would wash it and reset it. It was becoming increasingly difficult to style it. Like, I would be going through it and it would feel like the ends were almost kind of velcroing. Throughout my hair, I was experiencing a lot of webbing and just some weird stuff going on. And what was kind of like a red flag was that shortly after that cut, and we had cut quite a bit of hair because I wanted like a layered look. And so we had really gone in on it. And I was like, okay, so how is it that like it's 5 weeks into this cut and I'm starting to experience the same things, but at like an accelerated level? That was my feeling and experience. So I began to kind of get concerned, and then insert Rosie Amelia. I came across her information. For anyone who doesn't know her, she's a content creator also in the natural hair space. If you don't follow her, I suggest you do. She does wonderful content, obviously, around natural hair. Anyway, she gets an annual silk press in April for her anniversary. And she was also someone who, sorry about that. She was also someone who was getting, her hair cut in the curly state routinely. And it was strange because our journeys aligned with each other. Like, when we started getting the curly cuts and all that sort of thing. So when I saw her hair like flat ironed out, like silk pressed out, after she had been getting routine curly cuts, I got really nervous. And at that point, I was like, I want to see what's going on with my hair. And I was due for a curly cut, but I couldn't make it out to Sacramento because of life was lifing. So then I was like, you know what? My gut told me to get my hair blown out. So I ran back to my previous stylist who had been handling my hair for the last 15 or so years. and she was gracious enough to allow me to, grace her chair again. And when she blew my hair out, I was pretty surprised,
Yeah.
and yeah, I was pretty surprised. And at that point, I thought it was just the curly cuts and that they weren't capturing all the split ends, which personally, if you love curly cuts, I love that for you. I don't think anything is wrong with curly cuts. I think that they're beautiful for shape, but my own personal opinion around them is that I don't feel like they address all the ends of the hair. And so, therefore, of course, people want to blow me up when we come.
That's always how it
But
works.
yeah, and obviously, when you look at the pictures and the video, you can see why I would feel that way. So this is after I started getting straight cuts on blown out hair, and that last video. So this was my first cut on blown out hair, which was May 1st, and then this was October, the very last video where I'm like excited and moving my head. That was
Wow.
October 24th. So
And your hair looks really different in these two videos. I'm just gonna play it back. Like here, it's almost like it's like a color difference too. Like over here,
yeah,
you can this. Whoever's touching your hair can barely get their fingers through, or like your hair's like
so
attaching to itself. I don't know what's going on here. And then the second video, your hair's, well, I don't know. You probably use oils or something because it just looks more. Did you use oils? Let me not assume.
no, I had not used any oils at that point. However, I had gotten a demi permanent color rinse because
Okay.
I was really battling with cutting my hair, just cutting it all off, because when I kept going back and looking at those videos, I was like, okay, I just feel like my hair is just completely done for. And then when I found those strands with the mid strand splits, my stylist at that point, she was like, just roll with it, give me a year, we can fix it. And at that time, I was still following the no oils and no butters method. I hadn't changed anything yet. And I had never in my whole entire life experienced my hair that hard when I blew it out. That um, it felt like wire, and it was just and it was very stiff, and it was just a whole different experience than what I was used to. And so, anyways, she put a demi permanent in my hair, and it was to bring it back to its like normal color. Well, she said that it would rinse out rather quickly, but I had then. I'm a context person. I had then started playing around shortly thereafter with the Anthony Dickey method. And when I say I rinsed that stuff out really quick, so by the time I got that last cut in October, I really feel like if there was any of that color left in my hair, it was very little or next to none, just to put some context around it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I hadn't put any oil in my hair. This was right after I had gotten it cut. I had
Okay.
just left the salon, I believe.
And what's going on here with this last cut situation? So this is the more recent.
So, yes, that's the cut that I'm referring to, that I had started playing around with the Anthony Dickey method.
Okay.
And yeah, by the time we got to this particular cut is when, and I know a lot of people don't care for the African hair god. I know that he can have a very colorful way of presenting stuff, but he really, uh, came in during a time that like no one else was speaking up really, and from a stylist point of view, except for Naturally by Bria. And I'm not trying to sling any mud or be messy at all, but just the facts, right? And he was the person that started speaking up on it, and he started having a lot of people come into, his salon and sit in his chair based off of what was being shared out in the internet. Well, he was the individual that was like, you know what? I think it's beyond the curly cuts. I think that these young ladies' hair is just extremely dry and just really dehydrated and stripped and all of that. And so when I started hearing him talk about those things, that's when I reached back out to my stylist and I was like, I think I need more than just deep conditioning treatments and stuff. So I really started peeling back the onion and I started doing my own research and my own, Google studies, whatever, search and stuff.
YouTube
And
University.
right, YouTube University, and just really trying to figure out like, hey, this is more than just the cuts, and it's deeper than that, and there's something else that has really transpired with my hair, and that's when I was like, okay, deep conditioning treatments for me are essential. Making sure I'm alternating with protein and moisture, leave-ins, stylers that are not hard and crunchy, like
Well, I don't. Okay, I feel like we're okay. We're going from one extreme to we're running from one extreme to another because of everything that's going on. And when it comes to hair is already an emotional thing for us anyway. So if anything that's like damaging to our ends or our hair, we're like, oh, never again. I'm running to the opposite side. And I say this because I think there are things that are important when it comes to hair care. You got to wash your hair, you got to condition your hair, you got to style it. But I think we're also getting into like nitty gritty details when we say things like hard stylers may not be, it's breaking our hair off. Like, is that a fact or is it like a feeling, an opinion, And I don't want people to run the other way when it comes to something like this because I feel like a tiny tweak here and there can actually help your regimen and help your hair flourish versus let me stop doing everything and do a whole bunch of other stuff. Because I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit because as I'm listening to you today, Shelly, you mentioned like several methods already. You were like the Anthony Dickey. I was adding this and that. So part of it's like, well, I do want to talk about what you're doing right now and how we're moving from this whole ordeal because it was a very unfortunate situation. But the other side of me also is wondering, how do you know what's working if you're trying so many different things at the same time? So that's a loaded question. I know.
Yeah. Those are all great questions, and I want you to play devil's advocate because the truth of the matter is we're all still learning. We're all still uncovering. We're all still trying to figure it out. And there's one key takeaway from this whole thing for me, and that's one size doesn't fit all, And I think that we have to do our due diligence and do the research, dig deep, and understand our hair and understand what it means to wear natural hair, what is considered beneficial or not. Like if I tell you that I am now doing oil pre-poos for my hair, don't just take my word for why I think it's good. Go do your own research and understand why that's something that I, may be dabbling into and why I'm choosing certain oils. Like, just don't be like, oh, Shelly, he is doing it, Go ahead.
Are you doing oil pre-poos?
I might. So, one of the things that I also want to highlight is that I am in the process of continuing to document everything.
Okay.
I plan because so many people have asked me what I'm doing, and not that I'm trying to encourage anybody to do what I'm doing, but I will be coming out, with a video on my own channel where I highlight the method that I have currently begun to adopt. And it really is a mix of all the things that I feel are essential. Now, is it set in stone? No, because I reserve the right to, tweak anything I'm doing. But the other thing is I'm very transparent in how I walk and what I do, if I do something like flat ironing my hair, I may be sitting up here with heat damage like a mug.
Did
Like
you do
my
this
mess may
yourself?
not revert at all.
Did you
Huh?
flat iron your hair yourself?
I did. And then when
Oh,
I went to the salon yesterday because I was like, you know what? Well, it's flat iron. Let's trim these ends again. Yes, ma'am. And so I went and she flat ironed it again. She added some thermal heat protection and she flat ironed it again. So you know what? I may mess around and it may be,
no, no,
honey,
no. It's not damage. It's thermal rearrangement. Okay, get the terms right.
you call it what you want. If it don't revert, then it just okay. Like
Well, quick little question that I want to point out before we go deep
it
into
don't
the.
jiggle, something's wrong.
Wait, say that again.
If it ain't got some wiggle in its jiggle when it, to spring back up, something's wrong. But that's the chance I'm willing to take. And I'm at a point where I've been through so much with my hair that I just want to enjoy it.
Mm,
If I've proven anything, hair grows back
yeah,
and I'm gonna have fun with it.
that is very
So
true. That's a good point.
if I wash it and it's kind of stringy, honey, it'll get brush styled. But I will tell you, I'll be like, woo, I might have snuck. But I honestly am not tripping at this point.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
justifying
hopefully there's no damage. But how many curly cuts did you get while you were practicing the method? That's a
Uh,
question from Simply Tams. Simply Tams, Tams, girl, how you doing? She asked me too, so let me
so
start counting. Hmm.
I got one every 3 months. I started in May of 2022, and I got one every 3 months. But I visited two Cut It Kinky stylists, one out here in Arizona, and then one in Sacramento. And
Okay.
so I just got routine cuts every 3 months. But I think how many did you get, Jen?
I just counted at least five. I remember at least five. And when I
Yeah.
first started, I cut off a lot of my hair because saw a stylist. And I think most of us, when we start this journey, they tell you that your hair is dehydrated and all the things. And you know me, I'm not attached to it. So I was like, dehydrated? I only want hydration from head to toe. Let it go. So we cut off quite a bit. And then that's how I started my journey. But then I went and dyed it. So that was a whole other
Yeah.
thing. So then I cut it after I
That's
dyed
cute.
it.
That was cute. The color was cute. So I'm curious then. I have a question for you. So do you feel like because you're not attached to hair and you've allowed a lot of hair to be cut, because 5 cuts, that's pretty significant. Do you feel like, and because your hair is on the, I mean, I don't want to be like your hair is on the shorter side, but do you feel like maybe that's why you haven't necessarily experienced anything? I don't
No.
know.
My theory is that I did not experience any of these things because I used a lot of thicker products. That I think that's
Oh,
it for me. Like it's not even I did I guess 5 cuts, you said it's a lot, but at the same
yeah.
time I still did a lot of the other things. So I washed very frequently. I actually did a lot
Mhm.
of wash and goes. At some point I was getting bored of the wash and goes. I use the recommended gels, so I use Uncle Funky, Accurate Hold for a while. But I'm
Mhm.
also a little product junkie, so I'll sneak at other gels. Someone would tell me, "Oh my God, use Aunt Jackie." I'm buying Aunt Jackie, or I would use a lot of butters. So I use the Marie Moisture butter. I use the Carol's Daughters butter. It's not even because I wanted to use the butter, because I felt like it was actually very heavy when I was using it,
Mhm.
but I still
Mhm.
used it, and I think that's probably what helped my hair not get really dry or really stripped. Because that's my theory. My biggest theory with all of this is not even in the gel category. It's not in the deep conditioning category. My beef is with the shampoo step. I think once they told us, wash your damn hair, your hair's dirty. And once they really emphasize, okay, you gotta shampoo, I think a lot of us was like, okay, well, we gotta shampoo. Because what I was doing is shampooing twice every time I would shampoo my hair. And at first I was using AG products, but AG balance was felt stripping to me at the beginning, but I'm like, what do I know? You know, that strip filling is probably what you're looking for. But I switched to AG Curl Fresh, which apparently is still an all-purpose shampoo, but a little bit more moisturizing. And then I started
Yeah.
using all kind of different shampoos. This whole closet is hair products, and best believe I'm gonna
Hey,
use them in this lifetime. Okay, so I was going rotate like shampoos I wasn't attached to, especially conditioners. I would use a lot of different ones. I would use I don't want to name them, but every wash day I was using a different product because I was like, well, why not? I'm washing my hair more now, so I can actually go through my products even faster. So I think that's what saved me because I wasn't using harsh shampoos over and over and over. So my hair wasn't getting stripped over and over and over without replenishing in terms of the probably deep conditioners or the oils, etc. And I think that's the biggest piece, I would say, from everything that I've researched. Because like I said, I don't want us to get to a space where we're like, okay, we used to use oil, and we were using a lot. We can admit it. I can admit it. My pillows are fine. My pillows are finally thriving. My pillows are like, Jennifer, it's about time, because all of my old pillows had oil stains on them because I was just using a lot of oils and just drenching my head in like thicker products. So I feel like that's an extreme. And then there's the other extreme where you just remove everything and now your hair is suffering because you're not supporting the basic needs. So I don't want us running to the other side. I feel like there's a very healthy middle or even like adding things when needed.
Yeah, I think that there is a healthy middle. As I'm sitting here listening to you, I think that there is a fundamental difference between how you approached it versus how I approached it. I'll say how Rosie Amelia, Simply Tams approached it. Like, we did everything to the T. Like, I remember distinctly going through all of my products once I decided to commit to the no oils and butters. And I looked at the first 3 to 5 ingredients. And if it had a butter or oil, I was like, you are out. Like, you cannot be a part of the party. And then I purchased all of the products from the curated list because I was in the online digital platform, which was really cool, by the way. But anyways, because I met a lot of wonderful people. But anywho,
I feel like your lawyers told you to say that.
no. I mean, I might have some. I might have a group. No, I'm just kidding.
It was great. I'm kidding.
No, I'm just kidding. But what I was gonna say is like we followed the method to a T, but I'm finding individuals such as yourself who like didn't really follow the method. Like the biggest thing that you did was you took raw oils and butters out of your regimen and you washed your hair maybe a little bit more frequently. Like I was already washing my hair frequently. I wasn't using raw oils and butters. What I did do was switch to all of those products. So I do believe that there is something to the whole shampooing thing. I mean, I have my own theory behind everything, and it's also what has helped me to fix my hair besides, my hairstylist who does an amazing job cutting, and the African hair god who has stepped up big time for me. I mean, I have literally cried to him about what was going on with my hair, and I think that that's why he also is so passionate around all of it.
I think he's seen the result of like the other side, right? Like people going to him with damaged hair, and like he said, he's also done like 20 plus corrective cut. Do I even want to call them that? Cuts to really help people get started over. And it's like I said, hair is an emotional thing for us, and it always will be based on how we grew up and how we were taught to see our hair. So yeah. Someone left oh, go ahead.
Really quick, I'm sorry. I do feel like there is something to, deep conditioning. Now, do you have to do it weekly? I don't know. You have to figure that out for your hair. I do think that there's something to using a leave-in under a wash and go or under any style that you're wearing for that matter to help create like a protective layer between your hair and the styler. And
I think one thing that I also want to, I hate to cut you off, but when we think of leave-ins, I think that, in my world, the thicker the better. That's how I used to use leave-ins. It was it was almost like a second butter, at some point
Mm-hmm.
because of how thick it was. But then there's such a wide range of leave-ins is what I'm also realizing and learning now. And even like botanical leave-ins, it could be like literally a spritz that you put in your hair that will give you more hydration and more support under, say, your gel. Doesn't have to be like a thicker product that's actually going to affect your style. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, what I would love to know, and it's been unfortunate because the only two stylists, and this isn't any shade, this is just, speaking about what has happened. But I would love for more to engage in the conversation, especially ones who have indulged in the method and, but naturally by Bria, she was one of the stylists who, like, when it
Mm-hmm.
first started happening, she connected with me and was like, what is going on? Let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation. And she even went on a live with me on Instagram, and we had that conversation. If you want to see it, it's on my page. You can go check it out. I thought it was really good.
Did she
And
have any thoughts, or I guess maybe it's an opinion at that point, but any idea as to why this happened and how it could be fixed?
so this was kind of early on. Our conversation was more around the curly cuts, and as a professional on that side of the equation, she was like, I love curly cuts. I think they're beautiful for shape. She's like, but even I get my hair blown out periodically to check the health of it and make sure that, I'm capturing all the dead ends. And she was like, and that's where I stand on that. And then we were still in the early stages of really trying to figure out what was going on outside of that, as far as the extreme dryness and all that in the hair. And so she even said, she's like, girl, even I've started to use a little bit of leave-in, and I would be curious to know where she stands now. I don't know. We
Yeah.
haven't talked,
I
but
wonder, because what's the
um
harm in that, right? Like, say if you use a little leave-in here and there. I guess,
I think it's like a safety net. Like, I really think it's like a safety net at this point. You will not catch me. You can assume that there's a leave-in under this, blowout, flat iron, whatever you want to call it. Like, anytime I'm doing my hair, I'm going to include a leave-in. But that's just me. And
so
you
there's
can also
something
assume.
someone said here too that is interesting, because she's like, she uses some of the recommended products and she has no damage over here, and we can't keep generalizing. And I agree with her, because I think there's people that, well, most people that I've spoken to that uses this method and had no damage have switched their products. Like, they're very much, I wasn't,
Mhm,
following it to the T. And she says she uses
mhm,
some of the recommended products, so I don't know what some is, but I do
mhm.
agree that I think some people are following this to the T and are fine.
Yeah. No, and that's fair. And those people that I've come in contact with, they're like, my hair is thriving. And I'm like, I love that for you. So that's where I say one size doesn't fit all. Like, just because it didn't work for me or Rosie or others doesn't mean it's not working for others out there. However, I will say this, and I don't mean it in any kind of way, but I've also come across people who were like, my hair is thriving, my hair looks great, and then they finally blow their hair out.
Oh
Keeping
no.
it one, they blow their hair out, and then they're like, my hair is kind of like not in a good place.
Yeah,
Is
questionable.
that's going to hold true for everybody? No. But knowledge is power. And the whole reason why we're continuing to have the conversation is not to be sloppy, not to be messy, not to point fingers, but to just continue to search for solutions. Because although my hair is in a much better place today, and I would venture, like, I would say it's day and night different. I still do have some damage throughout my hair, but it is day and night different. I'm still searching for solutions. I still would love answers, and but what I'm also starting to realize is that I don't think the answers really exist. And
Yeah.
I don't think there were really long term receipts
Yeah.
around maybe the method. I
Yeah.
could be wrong, but I feel hard pressed to find them. And
So it's very
yeah.
interesting. I do agree with that because I think it's fairly new. When you think about the history of black hair, that's not really how we've been taking care of our hair. Think about our ancestors, it's the oils, the butters. My mom was using oils and butters. I started using oils and butters. So it's been a certain way. And even I had a video that I did on my channel just recently reacting to an article that was posted this year, and there was a black dermatologist, trichologist. I'm assuming they got some of the information from her, and it was very much the same method of using the LOC, LCO. So it's like this one way of taking care of black hair. And on the other hand, now
Mhm.
that we're experimenting, so to speak, and doing something different, this is why I'm like, I give it grace that it's okay when you're trying something new that it may not work out. Instead of running back to the
Mhm.
first method, then it's like, okay, well, how can I make this work? How can I tweak this? How can we evolve? How can we change? How can we make it better? I think that's more of a growth mindset when it comes to trying something new.
Mhm.
So I mean, if someone said they've been doing this since like 2015, 2016, and I'm like, that's still fairly new given that our ancestors, great, great, great grandma, was I don't know, mixing oils for their hair. Like that has I don't know, longer track record than something that is new. So I don't
Right.
know. That's kind of like how I see it. And even sometimes, when we think about getting answers, who are we going to get the answers from? Because if it's like, the stylist that's been doing this for a little bit, just because they've been doing it doesn't mean they know how it's supporting the integrity of the hair or even destroying the hair or even, okay, well, let me put this and that and see the results that I get. You're still experimenting technically. So where are we
Yeah.
going to get these answers from? And also, if scientists aren't studying black hair like that or not in the way that is different, if you're looking at it through the same lens, you're going to get the same answer. Oh, black hair is fragile. It's fragile when wet. Like, okay, thanks. Like, that's what we've been saying forever and what we've been doing
Mhm.
forever, but this is all new. Like, let's try to do things in a different way.
Mhm. Well, what's frustrating is what I've learned is like things aren't geared towards us. The only time things are geared towards us is to capitalize off of us, to make money off of us. Other than that, like things aren't geared towards us. So like when you see certain studies and stuff that are done, it's not to benefit usually people of color. So it does then push us back into a space where we then are trying to figure it out on our own,
Yeah.
and that's unfortunate. But I will say that from what I have gathered and how I have been rehabbing my hair, YouTube University wasn't too far off.
But you know what I
Like,
find funny? I find every time someone wants to say that YouTube University is what destroyed their hair, like I cringe because I'm like, no matter what, I feel like YouTube University would always be there for y'all. Okay. Even in this whole ordeal, guess who's testing new products or trying new gels or reporting back to, I don't know, with their findings of what happened? Or even YouTube University is actually how a lot of people are discovering that they've had damaged hair or something was off. Like, oh, I can't get my fingers through my ends, and your stylist is like, oh, your hair is fine. But you come to YouTube University and you're watching a discussion like this and you're like, oh, wait a minute, maybe it's not
you're,
fine. Like YouTube University
yes,
is literally just information. Now you obviously have to sift through. It's like saying Google is bad. Like, okay, but you on there every single day. Like,
right, right. When the doctor puts you on a particular medication, what do? You go Google it and you find out what the side effects and all the things. So it is good for some things. Like, I mean, we have to take everything with a grain of salt, but just do your homework. Like, don't let anybody spoon feed you anything. And I don't care what title they have behind their name, who they are, because anyways, yeah. Take
the
take
titles.
what take what people say with kind of a grain of salt,
I
especially
agree.
in these
In hair
internet
care.
streets.
So what are you
Thank
doing right now moving forward? So what is your regimen like? And I'm very intrigued to ask because I feel like you're doing a lot of different things, but I'm curious to say like what are you doing on a weekly basis?
So, like I said, I'm going to put it all together because I know it sounds like a lot, but it's really not a lot. I mean, it's it's all the fundamental stuff that, like I said, YouTube University used to teach us, deep conditioning, using a leave-in or something cream-based underneath your wash and go, and um, implementing a little bit of oil. Like
So
my
is
my
this raw
hair,
oil you're talking
my
about when
hair.
you say that?
I currently am using. Well, see, this is why I'm gonna do a video on it so that I can fully explain it because I don't want to just be like, oh, oil, and then people are like, oh, oil, and or Shelly's using raw oils again. So I, invite you to just come, keep it out, and be nosy and see all the things. One of the things I will say though is it goes back to whatever you see me doing. If you're in my shoes, go do your research and figure it out for you. Don't start putting stuff in your hair because you're like, oh, well, Shelly was able to rehab her hair by doing this, this, and that. Because just because I say it, like you need to have some context around it. Because just hearing me say, well, I use oil, well, where in my regimen do I use it? You know? And then when I say I wash my hair routinely, I wash it every week. Well, what does that look like? Because I have a very specific way now that I wash my hair. I don't wash my hair like I used to. I don't use the same type of products that I used to. I'm not looking for my hair to feel stripped every time I wash it. But it's also getting to know your hair and understanding how your hair behaves under certain conditions or not.
Now that we got this extremely long disclaimer, let's get into the regimen, girl.
I'm gonna reserve my regimen. I'm gonna reserve my regimen, boo. No, because I want to really put context around it because that's important to me, and like I've really been just capturing it all. And look, people will come for you in these internet streets. So I just really want to be as responsible as I can because I know some people think I have been irresponsible and sloppy. And you ain't lying. I'm a human.
I
I'm
said
a
you.
very perfect human. And but I want to move in a way that when I share what I'm doing, that there truly is some real context around it, that I don't just say, hey, I deep condition. Well, what does that look like? Because, are you just using a moisturizing deep conditioner? Are you using a protein one? When are you using what and why? And like,
I,
it's more nuanced. I don't know.
that's true. I guess it
So,
really comes
um,
down. It all circles back to really understanding your hair, and I kind of use that loosely sometimes because how deep do we need to know? Do we need to go with that understanding? But it still circles
yeah.
back to understanding your hair, knowing your hair, and how you want it to feel, so to speak. Because I
But, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's all. That's what I was gonna say. Because when we think about catering your shampoo and your conditioner, and say using a leave-in before your gel, that all comes with you practicing and saying, okay, you know what? I've done this. I don't like that. Let me add this. Let me remove that. Let me not shampoo as much or as many times. Because just because someone says you need to shampoo your hair twice with an all-purpose shampoo doesn't mean you have to. And I mean,
Well,
some of the things that I've seen too online is that a moisturizing shampoo isn't going to clean your hair, and I'm like,
that's not true.
right,
Yeah, that
right.
my experience says that's not true, and that's why I want to be very careful when I talk about what I'm doing now versus not, because my Shelly's experience has been one that, like, you do have kind of a spectrum of shampoos, right? You have the clarifying, the all-purpose, the moisturizing. I have used, depending on how dirty my hair was or not, I now realize that there were times that I used a moisturizing shampoo and it cleaned my hair or cleansed my hair as though it was a clarifying shampoo. So I think that you have to be very mindful of what you're using and why you're using it and when you're using it. And it goes back to that one size doesn't fit all. And don't
Yeah.
just let somebody write up a regimen and then you're like, "Ooh, I'm gonna do all that," because your hair may not need all of what they're doing, and
Yeah.
implementing. And I think that that's really where we get into trouble, because I feel like that is certainly where I went down a slippery slope.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah, I think
Think-
so. Following something to the T and kind of blindly following it can definitely get you in trouble if you don't understand why you're using it, how you should be using it. Like there's a lot
Yeah,
more that comes to hair care. I think it's just about really learning the steps, what's necessary. So I'll take a few
yeah.
questions. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, with this particular regimen and stuff, I feel like it was a little different because I feel like a lot of individuals who followed it and had issues, and individuals who are following it and their hair is thriving, like it was kind of spoon fed to us,
Oh yeah, I think it
you
was.
know?
It was like it
And
was it was put in a way, and I know people are looking saying things now like, "Oh, we never said that," or really kind of tiptoeing around the subject. But the messaging was very strong, and it was use
mhm,
this product, use that product, and then you gotta
mhm.
go in with your gel. You don't need a leave-in. You don't like it was the wording was very strong, which is why I think a lot of people follow the steps to the T. Like, we're just gonna use this particular shampoo and then clarify as well, like once a month, but then used in all purpose. And a lot of people weren't using moisturizing shampoos like that. And then going into the conditioner, you don't need a deep conditioner, you don't need a leave in. And, that's the part I don't like, where it's like, oh, we never really said that, hiding behind all these like mumbo jumbo lingo and confusion. It's like, well, why did so many women drop leave-ins if that wasn't part of the messaging? Something's clearly is wrong with the communication.
Well, that's why it would have been nice to have a conversation. But I take ownership in that as well. So maybe if I would have moved a little different, and I don't know, maybe we could have had that conversation. So I take some ownership for that. I really wish we could have, because there's still a lot of individuals who really need answers. And I think that there's a lot of individuals who probably are still using the method, whether they say it or not, that they have a little seed of doubt in the back of their mind, and maybe they would like some answers too.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be a situation where it's this divisive thing of, you know, people who are still indulging in it versus those who aren't. It's like, if it's working for your hair and you're showing up the way you want and you feel good about it, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
But it would be nice for us all to move in a level of maturity where we can just have conversations.
Like
And
we're
it's
doing right
okay to
now.
agree to disagree. You know,
Yeah.
it is okay to disagree,
Yeah.
but it would be nice to just come together as a community and just converse. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, I agree. We don't all have to agree. And like, if I do something to my hair that doesn't work, and you do the same thing and it works, then that's good. It still doesn't work for
Mhm.
me though. Like, I don't know what you want me to say.
Right. When I'm doing
Anyway,
stuff, other people would be like, "No, sis, I'm not blowing out mine, and I certainly ain't putting a flat iron to it." Well, we all reserve the right to move differently. There's nothing wrong with that,
yeah.
you know?
So Preserve Natural said she had a lot of issues with shampoos actually. So I think she had issues with this method. She said that shampoos destroyed her hair. Some of us have hair that isn't like that. We have hair that doesn't need to be broken down. The hair changing isn't addressed in with these people. Does shampoo break down our hair? I don't know if I've heard that before.
Um, I know that there are studies out there. I'm not well versed in them or anything like that, but I know that there are studies that talk about how shampoo can be somewhat harsh on the hair. And we know that like it's a fundamental thing that we need for the health of our scalps and
Yeah, yeah, of
everything.
course.
But over time, when you use them, it's kind of like,
You don't
you
know.
know,
And that's a point
yeah,
that she made here too. She said that these products were only used or tested on us, black people, and so they're just recently tested on us. So I think it's probably again seeing what happened 2-3 years down the line of using these products on us that I guess technically weren't I don't want to say that. I don't like saying it's not formulated for us because it kind of it's going based on the assumption that we can't use certain products, and I
right.
don't agree with that. But if used incorrectly, perhaps that could lead to some issues.
But that's what it goes back to, knowing your hair and knowing what works in your hair versus what doesn't, because every product formulated on this earth is not going to work for your hair, you know? And that's why I pride myself on being a little bit of a product junkie, because, you can do different things. But I honestly don't try like a whole bunch of stuff. Like, I'm really kind of, like, very kind of routine, but there's certain things that I'll play around with a little bit more, like with like shampoos and stuff, but for deep conditioners, but for stylers and everything, I'm pretty routine. I
Yeah.
just had to say that.
Or
And
it's
oh, and
fine being a product
I
junkie.
I did want to pull it back to the stylers. Like, there is no scientific evidence out there whatsoever that a hard hold styler or combination is not good for your hair. But for me, in my experience, I know how my hair felt. And I know, like, you know, it probably wasn't the best thing for my hair to be frozen in time. And then if it touched or moved something, like, I just don't know if that was the healthiest thing. So at some point, we also have to kind of use common sense.
No.
Not saying people ain't using it, but we have to kind of use common sense and say, okay, is that really like healthy for our hair, all the time? And I am just finding that stylers that offer a little bit more flexible hold, but have some hold, but aren't frozen in time, where my hair actually can move and stuff, I'm seeing a better, head of hair.
Interesting.
But
So I wonder if
yeah,
the reasoning behind using these harder stylers is for your hair to last longer, because I think there's a lot of emphasis in the black community when it comes to our styles, like how long can we keep it in for, how long, and sometimes you shouldn't leave a style in for long, especially when it comes to like a wash and go. Like this entire method, I can tell you right now, it's not very forgiving if you're not willing to do your hair consistently, like every week, and probably even sooner than that. You probably shouldn't
mhm.
consider this.
Yeah. I mean, I was someone who was guilty, and I was like, oh, I can make this last longer. I think people who live in different climates, if you live in a climate where there's a lot of humidity, you're fighting that and trying to keep your wash and go together. So there's a lot of reasons why a person would want something that has a harder hold.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally get that. But for me, it's no longer worth it because I live in the desert, but I travel a lot, and I travel to a lot of places that have a lot of humidity. And I know moving forward, if God continues to bless me where I get to travel like that, I'm still going to move different in those places. What was the other thing I was going to say about, shoot, I lost my train of thought. And it was good too. Senior moment. It was good. Shoot, what was I going to say? Oh, as far as lasting days, like now, for my head of hair, I'm no longer chasing days. If I reset my hair and my hair lasts for several days, like 6 or 7 days, that's good. But I am going by how my hair feels. If my hair starts to feel dry at any moment, I'm not waiting until like
Yeah,
it's really, like, if
yeah,
I start to feel it and it don't feel right,
you're
then
washing
honey,
it.
we reset it, even if it's the next day.
Yeah,
So
and I
I'm
think
going
that's the smart way to go about it too. When you think of
Mhm.
the Anthony Dickey method, that's one of the things that he emphasizes, on being very frequent in your hair. Like he's talking about daily wash and goes, which is a little extreme, but I feel like this method is basically his method, but how can we stretch it? So now you're using harder gels with the intention of let me capture that result and hold it for a week. Or
Okay.
two, I guess,
Yeah.
but that's not
Yeah.
recommended. So your hair is definitely dry
Yeah.
out. And one thing that you mentioned too that I think is a fair point is like climate play a role. Because I
Hmm.
know where I am, I'm in Canada, it gets really cold and harsh in the winter. So right now, I don't care to do a wash and go or anything like that. But in the summer, it's very lovely. So
Yeah.
I feel the difference where my hair will dry out faster in the winter than it would in the summer.
And I think with that, like the way that I understood it in this method was like even during different times of the year, you didn't really need to change anything. You just needed to continue doing what you were doing. And I really believe that. Well, now I think completely different. I'm like, for me, I do feel like I need to switch stuff up depending on what season I'm in and all of that kind of stuff. So I think it all does play a role. And then another thing there's so much. There's just so much. Like like one of the things that I was most surprised about was I really and I recently wrapped my head around it because I struggled. I really thought my hair was super hydrated. Like no one could have told me my hair wasn't hydrated. And especially because there were times that I was redoing it twice a week, and I would have never ever guessed in a million years that my hair was severely dehydrated. And not to bring him up again like I'm humping his leg, but the African hair god is the one who turned the light bulb on for me. He turned on that light switch, which I was like, wait, is my hair dehydrated? Like no, because my hair when I wet it, the my hair soaks that water up. It pulls it in immediately. Like there's just no way. And so it's all been a real learning curve. Like I said, if it's
So what
working
did
for
he
you,
say? I'm very curious. What did he say that made you realize that your hair was dehydrated versus hydrated?
so he was talking about his experience of having different people in the chair. And this was early on when we were like, okay, it's the curly cuts that cause, all these split ends. Not cause
Yeah.
them, but they leave them behind because the method of cutting
Yeah.
is cutting. It doesn't matter if you're cutting it curly or straight, you're cutting the hair. So unless you got some dull shears, like cutting's cutting.
Yeah.
But he was like, you know what, there's more to it. And he's the one that said what he was noticing was that people's hair was severely dry and dehydrated. And I mean, I remember I reached out to him and I was like, "What you say, Willis? Like, there ain't no way." And he was like, don't shoot the messenger." He's like, "I'm just telling you, like, the hair is like dry." And he's like, "It is like raw." And it's, he's just like, it's crazy that, like, the hair is intact as much as it is, which just shows you how resilient and wonderful our hair is and how forgiving our hair can be.
Mm.
But he's the one, like, he
Yeah,
is the
he's
one.
done a lot of research on this. We obviously appreciate African Hair God for, dropping his knowledge and actually be willing to help. Because there's something someone said here. I think I lost a comment. She said something about if the messaging was confusing or it just didn't make sense that so many people had the wrong idea and they should have just stepped in and corrected the messaging, which I like to argue it would have been possible to do that. But honestly, black girls really rely on confusing message as probably like a business model or something at this point. That's how I see it. Just putting out confusing message so people are just like more confused, so then you sign up for the resources. Because I've seen things lately that I'm just like, like he protect and don't protect the hair. It's like, well, it does, but obviously that doesn't negate washing and conditioning your hair. But it's just the
Right.
way that it's being put out, or like, why do you need a leave-in? It's like a question with a question, so people are even more confused. Stuff like that, where I'm like, it's very interesting to see. And I think it's the confusion that's creating even more confusion in a space that was already confusing. Like, navigating
Yeah.
hair care is a lot already.
Yeah. And just doing what Jesus loves and telling the truth. That has been one of the most frustrating parts of it all, is that, like, I have seen in words, you don't need a leave-in. We don't suggest a leave-in under a wash and go because it won't allow your set to have longevity. And then when the question is posed, it's like, we never said that. So then I'm like, it's
Yeah, what's going
confusing.
on?
And like, even with a lot of different things that have come to light, it's like I see the changes being made,
Yeah,
because
I see it too.
people still send me stuff, and I'm sure they send them my stuff, whatever, because we're messy and sloppy. That's just how social media is. But people send me stuff, and I'm like, okay, so now over cleansing is a thing. So now
Yeah.
deep conditioners, like all these different things, and I'm
I've
like,
seen the
why
messaging
don't,
change. Yeah, the
yeah,
messages that
what I'm,
slowly change over time, where it's like, okay, well, they're like understanding your hair. It's more or more. It's, I guess, the message that's being put out. Or, well, we've heard that people have been over cleansing their hair, so that's what you should do. Not that we've heard, because that's one thing in the natural hair community, or between Black women, talk about over cleansing our hair. I feel like that's not even a word that's been in our vocabulary. That's not
right.
something we did. So we went from wash your damn hair to over cleansing. Like, what happened between that step, right?
Where did we get that from? But
Yeah.
I just wish that as we try and bring solutions to the table, because that's really where it should be
Yeah.
now. It should be about solutions and helping those who feel like they have been affected to just rehab their hair, because we need answers. But like, instead of doing it kind of in a quieter way. I don't know the words, but I'm
Yeah.
like, why can't we just be open and say, hey, look, there's validity to this.
Yeah.
We see that this is an issue. So we acknowledge that, we receive it, let's change it.
Yeah.
It's so simple.
But now
It's
it's
so
too late.
simple.
I think it's too late for us to get to that stage because of how it's been handled. I feel like if it had been handled like this from the very beginning, this whole thing wouldn't even have been a thing. Like, it would have been like, okay, what happened to your hair? Let me help you. Done. Done. You would have had your questions answered, and moved on. Like, that's all they would have been to it. But now
Mhm.
that it's been so long and all of this conversation has happened, and African Hair God got into it, and he was like, "Oh, y'all not gonna do this to my people." It's too late.
He
It's too late now.
he
Yeah. Everyone's
is
blocked.
he is invested in us, and like I said, he has a very colorful delivery at times, but one thing no one can say is he doesn't love the natural hair community, because he puts out so much free information out
Yeah.
there, and he's not afraid to step up when there's issues and try and help us.
Yeah.
So I have great appreciation for him, and like, I stand 10 toes down on that, point blank, period. You know.
So, if I
Um,
had to think, or if I had to help someone that maybe, or hopefully someone who hasn't started this yet but is thinking about starting it, what I would say is, yes, go ahead and do the 30-day detox, especially if you've been using oils heavily your entire life. If you've been coating your hair back to back, like I was doing, like I was pre-pooing, that's adding oils to my hair. And I mean, girl, we were squeezing oil in my hair, okay? And then gently washing it with a moisturizing shampoo just one time. Just shampooing the scalp and letting the rest Taylor Swift its way down my strands. If that's what you're doing too, then I think you should actually do the 30-day detox. But then after that, I feel like you can just use regular moisturizing shampoos and you'll be fine. Especially if you're washing your hair consistently, like a couple of times a week or once a week. That would be my thoughts, my non-stylist YouTube university opinion. I think you'd be just, because that's what I did. Girl, I was just using moisturizing shampoos back to back to back after that. After I was like, why am I, really going in with this all-purpose shampoo, especially keeping in mind that I know I'm going to clarify in a month or 8 weeks. So be gentle with your shampoo step. Really understand that, I don't know, your hair don't need to be stripped every wash. And then I feel like from that point on, you should be okay. Now, deep condition as needed. I would definitely not take it out especially with what happened to Shelly. I would at least do once a month. It's better to prevent than having to cut, because you can't repair. So I would probably
See, now, I'll challenge you on something. I really think, because someone could say, oh, now we're generalizing again, I really think you have to know your hair. You have to know where your hair is at. Because some people, like me, I probably never needed to do a 30-day hair detox. And
That's
knowing
true.
Rosie's story now that I know it, I don't think Rosie ever needed to do it. But then, like, I hear your story, and I'm like, yeah, I would say
No, I
you
needed it.
could benefited from it,
From the first time I did my wash, I was like, wow, I needed it. I
Yeah.
didn't realize at the time, obviously, but that first, because I was listening to Brianna Hall, I think her name was. She's the one that got me into it. And she told me
Mhm.
she actually sent me the products that I needed, which were vastly different from this, by the way. I was Paul Mitchell. It was like a tangly shampoo. It felt really good, actually. But anyways, that was my detox shampoo. So I used that. But she was like, leave the shampoo in your hair. Really go through and like massage your hair. Like, get in there. And once I did that, I was
Right.
like, first of all, I've never felt my hair this way. Like it was just day and night. So for someone like me who was using a ton of oils, a nice detox, even if you do it a couple of times a year and then you still keep using your oils, girl, you probably need to do that.
Yeah. But a lot of us took it and made it a lifestyle, because I mean, I didn't know any different. And so I would just caution anyone that do your homework, really dig deep and see if it's something that you really need. Um, I love the aspect of wash your hair, but then understand what you're using, why you're using it. Because one of the little things that I do in my regimen now, and I don't do it consistently, but I also co wash now because I'm listening to my hair.
Shelly!
You know,
See, that's what I mean. Shelly's doing when she says all the things, she means all of the things.
curly hair is a lifestyle, and it's way more complex than wearing your hair straight. This right here, this is easy. Like, this was like easy peasy. Wearing my hair curly, like, and I'm not trying to be pompous or anything, but if I wanted my hair back down to my waist, it would be so easy to grow. God willing, He allows it to grow the way it grows. And I take some supplements and stuff that I'm going to talk about, to help aid and give it a little push. But with my hair, if I wear it straight, I guarantee you my hair would be back down to my waistline in the matter of like a short period of time.
Okay, well now I
Now
have
wearing it,
questions. I have questions. Why is that? Why do you feel it's easier to grow your hair long while it's straight than it is while it is curly?
it's easier. It's less manipulation. Like, it's just, I used to just put my hair back, and like I would look up and I washed it routinely and everything. And girl, I would look up and my hair would be like way longer.
I don't
Like,
know.
if
I don't
you
agree with that. Mm-mm.
my hair, I'm telling you from my experience. But I also have very good hair growth genetics, and then I, you know,
But it's
amplify
growing
that.
just the same, Your vitamins are pushing your curly hair out of your scalp at the same rate that is pushing your straight hair out of your scalp. So I don't think it's a growth thing. Maybe length retention, perhaps, but I don't know
Good
what your
length.
regimen is like, but I wouldn't say it's harder.
No, I think it's harder. I have good length retention even with curly hair. But what I'm saying is straight hair for me is way easier. It's just way
Easier
easier.
as in your
Curly
day
hair
to
takes a
day,
lot.
or
Curly hair takes way more work and effort. And I think it's more susceptible to having things go wrong.
well,
I
it's
think
first
that
of all,
manip-
this is coming from a traumatized person. I'm kidding, but I see what you mean in terms of, well, first of all, like I said before, I feel like you're doing a lot with your hair that may not entirely be needed, but I get it because you're coming from, you're recovering your hair from rats sucking on it, so I get that. But
what's a lot? What's a lot though? Deep conditioning, leave-ins, a choice of different stylers.
you're co-washing.
I co-wash periodically. I don't do it every week. It
Okay.
depends on how my hair is feeling. What I've really done is I've really started to listen to my hair.
And you also
And
mentioned too much manipulation in the curly state. What does that mean? Because I would say it's more manipulation to manipulate curly hair to be straight versus letting curly hair be curly. I know we're going a whole
so
different conversation right now, but I just don't like when people say curly hair is a lot of work or like
it is,
manipulation. I'm just like,
but curly hair, wearing curly hair, there can be a lot of manipulation in curly hair. All the raking and smoothing and all that. And depending on if your curls show up, when you shampoo it and condition it, like a lot of us make curls. Like I have curl friends that they create curls. They have curls, but they create a different curl, a different looking curl. Like wash and goes, I'm not fully convinced. Also, I always throw stuff out and then people are like, Lord Jesus, she's always saying something. But I'm not convinced if wash and goes are truly the best thing for the hair in general.
mm.
I almost wonder for people who really want to grow their hair out, how they want, if maybe more stretch styles are better. I don't know. I don't know. But I just know for me that if I wanted to grow my hair out and have it be pristine, 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 having it like this, which I don't really like the way I look with straight hair, this would get me there so quick because I almost wonder if wash and goes, because of the level of manipulation, because of the whole setting it, and
Mm,
I think we do more to it when it's wet, when
yeah.
we're trying to early, than we do when we're wearing it twisted or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Just my thought.
I've heard that argument before too, where someone said all the manipulation that we're doing while the hair is in its fragile state. I don't like that word, but whatever. It is what it is. May be
Well,
contributing to some issues, but I don't know for sure because I think a lot of people are actually thriving doing wash and go back to back, not having any issues if they're using the right products to support their hair. So I would say the biggest factor is probably using the right products and the right techniques, so you're not smoothing in a rough way. But yeah, I
yeah.
mean, there's so many different, I don't know, layers to this conversation there. Let's take some questions. I feel like there's so many questions coming in and I haven't, the
I want to
conversation
add
is
just one last
juicy.
thing. I just got to add this. One last thing. My son is 15. He wears twists in his hair. I do his hair once a month.
Hmm.
Okay. And we keep his hair moisturized or more hydrated with, a spray leave-in. And his hair, when I say it's the longest hair in the house and pristine, and I've only had to trim his hair once in a year because that's how amazing it is. And his hair is basically in a protective style, um, all month long, with the exception of one day when I wash it,
Yeah.
clarify it, do all the things. So I don't know. I don't know.
But
I'm
I also
just
feel like
talking.
men, to be honest, their hair is disrespectful. Like they don't even do nothing. They could use Dawn dish soap on their hair, and it'll be like I don't know, down to the floor the next day. Like, in a good way. Like, I don't understand. Men and their skin, they don't do nothing. Next thing you know, flawless skin. Why? I just feel like it's unfair at that point. But I think
True.
that's the reason why a lot of time YouTube University came up with the whole low manipulative style where you just kind of don't do too much to your hair, leave it alone type thing if you want it to grow. There's a reason why we did a lot of things in YouTube University. We weren't just a bunch of cuckoo women running around doing nonsense. Like, we, of course, obviously figured a lot of stuff on our own. And yeah, we're doing a lot, but a lot of us had reasoning as to why we're doing what we're doing. Okay, questions. If y'all got questions, type them quickly so that I can see them because I'm trying to read up and like I can't see all of them. But someone says had a good point. The whole messaging around wash hour. She says once that hour was up, she was feeling a little more stressed to like rush through her routine so that it was contained within an hour. And I can totally relate to that because that's how it was for me. Like, I came in with the mindset that this was gonna take me an hour. And I was like, oh my god, wash hour. Like, let me get my time back. So when I started doing this, I was like, no way. Like, my hair was taking 3 hours still. And before that, it took me 3 hours as well when I was using oils. So it wasn't any faster. But then I was frustrating myself the entire time thinking that it has to be an hour and I'm not doing this right. And I was rushing through my hair to the point that I was like, okay, I got to stop doing this. So I changed my mindset. I was like, it's going to take me time to do my hair the way that I want to do my hair. So that's a very good point in terms of the messaging there as well.
Yeah, yeah. And
Okay,
especially when you hear people are able to do it in an hour, you're like, what is wrong with me? What am I missing? What am I doing wrong?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Men get away with murder when it comes to their hair care and skincare. Absolutely. So, are we going to speak on the lamp/weepy curls of a certain founder? Do we believe that shampoo and conditioner alone can fix this? Answer me, Jen. Absolutely not. No, no. And if let me show y'all what she's talking about. We need to see this. Wait a minute. Shelly, you take another question.
Um, how would you determine what would be a good mask or leave-in right from the shelf? I think you have to look at your hair. Like my hair, I know my hair loves thick, creamy leave-ins. That works for my hair. But I have very dense hair, and my hair can hold a lot. My hair thrives with that. I can also use the water-based stuff and it likes it too. But I think you have to look at your hair and see what it is and then choose products accordingly. Like if I had really, really fine hair all over and I was lower density, I would not be using a thick, creamy leave-in. I would be using something that was water-based and lighter. And then personally, my experience is now showing me like all the salon brand products. Like, I mean, I don't really think it's nice to have some of them, and some of them are definitely beneficial. But honey, I'm getting my results from like some drugstore stuff.
And I also think, salon products are nice and all, but given how frequent we do our hair and we gotta do our hair, some of the prices of these products can be pretty up there. You know?
Girl, I'm gonna have to come. I would have had to come out of retirement to, pay for my little, salon. This happened in the nick of time. I'm just kidding.
All right, so
But
this is what the person was talking about. If you guys don't know, this is Aisha from Black Girl Curls. She's the CEO. She's the person that we've been. Okay, John, keep it together. I'm almost ashamed to say that this is the person whose hair advice we've been taking. But this is the reality. And you know what? I have to say, okay, this is serious, Jen. Over the years, I've seen Aisha's hair change drastically. I even left a comment. Oh my God, I don't know if she responded, but I left a comment saying, I was kind of shocked when this came onto my timeline. I was like, is this her hair? What's going on here? So I don't know the full story, so I'm not going to pretend. I don't follow every content creator like that. And y'all know I'm busy. I'm trying to create my own content, so I don't know everything she's been going on or everything that's been going on. But according to the caption, she said that hair behavior is something we talk about a lot. Many things can cause the behavior of hair to shift, one of them being shifting between hairstyles. She was in blowouts for the past 4 weeks. So whenever we're styling our hair, we're doing some sort of manipulation. However, going from one form of manipulation to another requires shifting the behavior of the hair. So her hair going from wash and goes to blowout wasn't a challenging shift, but going from a blowout to a wash and go had her cleansing, conditioning, and styling her hair 3 times in a week. So, okay, interesting. It's not necessary to cleanse that often. However, she chose to do so to help with shifting the hair back to its usual wash and go behavior. What behavior am I experiencing? Her curls have been limp, weepy. I don't know what that means. What are weepy curls? So her sets are lasting 2 to 3 days and she didn't like her hair. So this behavior isn't indicative of blowout hair. This can also be experienced by anyone who's gone too long without cleansing. Oh, interesting. Or even going in between braids, wigs, and weaves. That's a very interesting paragraph here. Okay. Let's keep going. My hair needs to be rehabbed back to its baseline state before any new styling options occur. Until then, she will be doing... You can catch me on the Do Less Express. Okay. So I did leave a comment. No answer. I did say I don't keep up with all your content, but from the caption is this heat damage? Because, I mean, if you're in blowout and then your hair are limp and weepy, is this damage? Because how do you revert limp and weepy curls back to its initial state with water and conditioning? I don't know. If it's damaged, I always say once your hair is damaged, you can hold on to it for as long as you want. But ultimately, there is a cut coming your way. And you can cut it slowly. You cut big chop. It's whatever you want to do. But I don't know. Apparently, shampoo and conditioner can bring limp and weepy curls back to life. I don't know. Maybe you guys can let me know what y'all think. Yeah, I don't know. The curls are not curling. Ooh. The curls are not curling at all. Maybe you can let me know what you think, Shelly. Oh my gosh, Shelly, am I putting you on blast? Y'all can let me know what y'all think in the comments.
So, I feel I actually feel really sad for her. I feel sad for her hair. I wish that she could step outside of the situation and see her hair from an outsider looking in or from a different lens, because maybe she would move differently with it. Because for a lot of us looking at it, and I'm not saying all of us, because I know there's people that are like, her hair is fine and all that, but I think for a lot of us looking at it, we see something that's maybe not reversible. And I'm the pot calling the kettle black right now, because I could wash mine and mine be exactly the same way. But the difference, I think, here is that, like, if that happened to me, my post would read differently. I'd be like, friends, I done,
Yeah. That's the part that gets me.
What it is, and we just gonna go with it. We gonna love up on it. We ain't cutting it, because I don't feel like I need to. Anyways, I feel bad for her, and I really am genuinely curious if she sees it the way so many others see it, because the streets are talking about it, and I don't know. And maybe she doesn't care. I don't know. But I don't know.
There's a few things that bothers me. But one thing that I am going to say, which a lot of people are saying as well, they're saying the bleach has destroyed her hair. When I had bleach, that's one thing I can say. Bleach is very harsh. When I bleached my hair, I knew before I colored my hair that I was going to cut it. And I said that multiple times. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to like dye my hair. And when I dye it, I'm going to do something extreme, because I know once you bleach your hair, for me at least, I was like, I'm going to cut it. So I think the bleach probably has something to do with it. And Maintaining bleach hair is difficult, so of course I'm also going to give her a lot of grace there as well. What I don't like, it's always the messaging around these things. Because we're looking at it, she's seeing what we see, because she's agreeing that her hair is limp and weepy. But then to go as far as saying that this can also happen if you go too long without cleansing your hair, or if you are going in between braids, I don't know. I mean, braids definitely can be damaging, but if going too long without cleansing your hair, can that really get your curls to act like that?
Well, I mean, we know I ain't got licensed the first, maybe
I
I
don't
will
either.
one day.
I am
But
definitely in YouTube University though, so I've been studying for a long time.
yeah, exactly. I mean, you have an honorary license probably, but I do know that like when we put heat to our hair, it can kind of take a moment for your curls to bounce back. I notice like when I blow my hair out or put a little bit of heat, it takes like one or two washes, usually like two washes for my hair to really spring back up. And then with the addition of some protein and that kind of stuff, it really helps to encourage it. So maybe that's what her hair is going through. But you know, I don't know. I mean, I pray that's the case for her because her curls are very, very. Put it this way: if I were to, when I wash my hair, if mine were that loose, from what they normally are, I'd be like, Houston, we got a problem, and I would then realize that some, as she would say, and I'm not trying to be shady, but some thermal rearranging had, commenced, perhaps. I don't know. I
Okay.
just wonder if she really like sees it the way she wrote it, or if she knows it differently. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
Um,
from what she says here is that heat damage, aka she meant heat thermal rearrangement, is known as
mhm.
irreversible damage to the hair that completely changes the behavior, needing either to be cut off or grown out. Her hair is limp, which can be treated with deep conditioners or bond rebuilders, while also doing the absolute least. So she is saying it's not heat damaged.
Mhm.
I guess it's a
Um,
temporary it's a temporary limpage. I don't know. At this point, I don't know what thermal rearrangement is, so I'm far behind already.
well, I know I forget when it was, but she was talking when she blew her hair out. She had done a live, and she had said, last year she experienced heat damage, and this year, hopefully, like she wasn't going to experience any heat damage. And then she said, well, I'm not going to call it heat damage. It's thermal rearranging. So that's where everybody got that from. And so, I mean, she coined that, which, I mean, if that's what she wants to call it,
I mean, damage is
but I'm,
damage regardless. We can call it some whatever different names that we want to call it, but damage is
I
damage.
just truly, I mean, I just pray her hair bounces back because, our hair, if my hair ain't right, I ain't right. And y'all done
Yeah.
seen me cry on these social media streets about my hair, and everything. So our hair is our crown, and there's nothing worse than it to take a frown. Look, you see what I did there?
Stop. So over here, she
Like,
says that treatment. This is an instance where you want to use a treatment or deep conditioner, because they say to use as needed basis. So that would be one of the bases. She said she also used K18 and Redken's
acid,
acidic bond for
it's their
various.
acidic concentrate.
Okay, so okay, that's interesting. I guess she's doing what she can to repair her
Yeah.
hair.
So she's using two bond builders. Mm. Well, I mean, I would too. I mean, I would
No.
too.
Okay.
I, I don't know.
All right. Well, we wish Miss Aisha the best with her hair care journey. I don't know. I feel like maybe the bleach is the reason that all of this is happening, or it could be just a combination. Bleach plus heat is probably not the best combination when it comes to hair. So I guess we'll
Hmm.
see. We'll see if they start walking again. These girls.
And if her hair wasn't well hydrated going into that, you're really asking for it because then you got the double whammy of the bleached hair. So, but who was I? I don't know.
Wow, someone here says they couldn't believe when you and Rosie came out. I never thought so many people will have this. And in the digital salon, talking to people with issues, her comments were deleted. Oh, that's interesting. Isn't the salon there to help people?
Mm-hmm. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. But I know, like, just in Rosie and I talking about it, and then other people coming out like Simply Tams, who by the way is another great content creator. I love her stuff. I mean, it has ruffled some feathers. It has upset a lot of people. And I understand why, because no one wants to hear that their baby is ugly.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we're just sharing our journeys as they have been unfolding. And I think it would be disingenuous of us to not share all of it in real time. Like when I was utilizing the method and I thought it was the best thing since sliced bread,
Mm-hmm.
I was constantly on lives on Instagram and I was shouting it from the mountaintops. And then once I started, noticing that I had some issues, I just was very honest about that. And I don't think that any of us ever came into the space trying to cause a rift or cause any issues. What we really wanted to do was have like a real meaningful dialogue around it and get
Yeah.
answers. But it was just so disheartening how we got dismissed and
Yeah.
blocked and all the things.
Yeah, and I say that all the time. I just feel like that part I don't condone. I just feel like we could have all it was a real moment for us to get together and also and shift the direction of this method a little bit just to kind of just to actually include everyone that's been trying it and say, hey, it's not a one size fit all or just whatever change needed to happen to help everyone that was following this. Like when we think about you and this method, you were one of the diehard fans, probably telling other people, oils and water don't mix, and then to have been treated that way, I think it's very unfortunate. Someone actually says here that how would she know it's not heat damage because wouldn't her hair have to revert back first for her to know that it's not permanently changed, which is a good point. You can't just say
Yeah.
it's lamp and weepy if it hasn't come back to being curly yet. Then it's I guess damage until further noticed.
Yeah,
I
I think
don't
if
know.
you have washed your hair a few times and it's still, weepy or however she described it, like I just say stringy and you have a loss of curls. I mean, I think at that point you kind of know what's up, but maybe her hair moves differently than others. I don't know. But I know if I do mine and I wash it like two or three times and it's, weepy or stringy, we gonna know. And you guys will all know because we ain't hiding nothing over here. I don't even. I honestly just ain't built to hide nothing, which is kind of a fault.
Yeah, yeah, no,
I wish I
it's
could.
it's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so someone here says they are a master cosmetologist. Dehydrated hair will not behave normally, be it due to heat damage, chemical damage, or infrequent washing and conditioning. The latter is easier to remedy. That makes sense.
Mm, yeah.
African hair got things that it's definitely heat damaged,
Mm,
but something's off. Whatever it is, I don't know if it's repairable. That's just for me. I'm definitely on the side of hair's damage. It has to go. All of these bond builders and this and that they're using, those are probably what we should question in terms of how much can they really do once your hair is damaged. And for
well.
someone who's talking about heat protected doesn't exist, how are we here?
Mhm, yeah. Well, I can tell you firsthand. I have used bond builders and everything, and
Mm.
they are of great help. but what they can't do is repair a split end, point blank, period. The way that I have been working through all the split ends, and I've had them all the way up my hair shaft, is through cutting the hair.
Yeah.
Like I have cut so much hair since May.
Yeah.
Um, like literally what, 3 inches in May, 3 or 4 inches in August, 4 or 5 inches in October, and an inch yesterday. Do the math.
Yeah.
That's a lot of hair.
Yeah. You're basically growing your a full head of hair back out at this point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Someone said
I mean,
Angela said she felt bad because she introduced, I think it was her comment. Someone said that they introduced this method to their sister and they had to get them to stop right away because of everything that's been happening. And I still don't feel like that's the solution. It's not about not doing this at all. It's being very careful and being in tune with your hair as you change your entire regimen. So maybe slowly transition, or if you do the detox, really clean your hair entirely. Now you're going to meet your texture, meet your hair, and then see how you want to move from there and support your hair and not just follow whatever blindly. So I think it still comes down to studying, understanding, and applying what you've studied to your hair versus just doing whatever. And a lot of time we don't give ourselves enough time to learn something new when it comes to our hair because we want somebody else's hair. I want my hair to look like her, so I want to do whatever she's doing. And it's like, no, you want your hair to look like your hair, so you got to do something that supports your hair.
so I have two questions because that's an interesting notion. Um, if so, you've seen where I am. I followed it to a T, and then you've seen people who have not done it, and then you're one of those people that is somewhere in the middle. Knowing what you know now, or what you feel like
Yeah.
would you fully do their method?
I would.
And all right, go ahead,
No, you
and then
go.
I'll ask you
You ask
a
me after.
question.
Okay. I wouldn't follow it to the T. I would do exactly how I did what I did before. And I think me having an understanding of my hair, like that's the beauty of doing your hair consistently. And I always say this, I actually have a video coming out soon. It's called Consistent Hair Care Routine. Anyways, the beauty of being in your hair consistently allows you to learn your hair. You learn how to style it, you learn how to care for it, no matter whatever method you're using, but just you handling your hair consistently. If something's off, you start realizing, I don't know, I don't like that. Maybe I should do something differently. So for me, having that knowledge, being a hair creator and doing this, like I would do this and I'm like, I still want to use the butter. I don't see no harm in that. Just because there's a little oil within the top 5, sue me. I'm a still, because I came from the time of drenching my hair in oil. I'm like, it's not gonna fall out now if I use a product that have oil in the top 5 ingredients. So I think moving intentionally as you do this, I would move that way. Removing everything and like really stripping my hair, even though that makes me uncomfortable, I wouldn't recommend that to anybody, and I wouldn't do that myself. So that's how I would move. And even now, I don't want to go back to using raw oils and having just pre-pooing and using all of these extra stuff. I don't want to go back to doing that. So I'm just finding my middle ground, which is, basically doing what I want to do with my hair now.
Right. So that's a great segue into my next question. So what part of the method, because you say don't throw it completely out, which I'm not advocating for or against. So then what part of the method do you keep?
I throw away the concept that moisturizing shampoos aren't cleaning your hair. I think that's a generalized statement. I beg to differ. I think if you give yourself 2 good wash with a moisturizing shampoo, you're good. This is what I do. I think if you use a leave-in, I think that would help you out. I haven't really used deep conditioners that much. The first time I used one was actually 3 days ago when I washed my hair. I used when this whole thing started happening, I used a deep conditioner which was expired, and my scalp immediately flaked up. It was just like, what is this? So that's why I say don't run and do the most, because then I know for me, I have a sensitive scalp, so I have to be mindful of that, which is why I don't want to go back to oils. I don't see the harm in not deep the harm in deep conditioning. Why not? Oh,
So,
maybe you don't
so
need
what
to.
part do you keep? So what part do you
I would
keep of
wash my
the?
hair. I would keep concepts. Washing the hair weekly for sure. Conditioning or deep conditioning. That is honestly personal preference. And then
Mm-hmm,
going into styling, it depends on how you want to style your hair. For example, for me, I use butters because I do flat twist outs, or maybe I just leave my hair in twist. I do that. I feel like a butter is better for me versus using a mousse, as they would argue. I don't like using a
mm-hmm.
mousse to put my hair in twist. I prefer a butter. So I would do that. And if I want to go into a wash and go, for example, then yeah, you can use the appropriate products. But me, I don't care so much about curls. So I would definitely use a leave in under while I'm in the shower and then go in with the products that, if I want to do a wash and go, that is.
You kind of ain't doing
No,
it.
I mean it's not the method itself. It's not how they've been preaching it at all. That's why I mean I definitely customize it for me. Like the way they talk about it, you got to do these wash and goes and like support your curls or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, forget that. I can put my hair in flat twists and I'll be just fine. And another thing that I do sometimes, if I slip and slide in the shower and wet my twist a little bit midweek, who's gonna sue me? Nobody.
Right, right.
It's fine.
No,
Ruin my style.
if I could go back, I would like how you're walking through it. I would do the same. Like I said, I was never a raw oils and butters person, so I hear you saying like you would continue to leave that out and
Yeah.
just routinely wash your hair.
Yeah.
Like that's the
That's
that to me
basically what
that's
it is. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Even if
yeah.
people that use raw oils, I don't think people realize how hard it actually is to wash raw oils out of your hair and scalp like that. I don't think we realize like using a light shampoo, for example, if you're using a lot of heavy oils, may not be enough. So that's
Mm-hmm.
when you probably
Mm-hmm.
need an all purpose or something a little bit stronger, at least once a month to really cleanse and like give yourself a clean slate. But other than that, if
Yeah.
you're not using raw oils, then I don't think you need to be stripping your hair every single week or 3 times a week or whatever. I don't think you need a harsh shampoo for that.
Like I use oil in my hair now, which it was such a mind shift. Like literally, I remember I had the oil, and I was like, I was like so nervous to use the oil, and I was like, oh my gosh, like so nervous to use it. And now I use oil in my hair care routine again, but I use it through formulated products. So I think it's all in how you do it and what you use, So
I guess
I
it
don't know.
comes back to trial and error. Kidding.
It does. It does.
All right,
And knowing your
well, here we are now. We're moving with new knowledge, mindset, mentality, and all of that. We're being mindful with our hair, which is something that is very important when it comes to natural hair, I think. It's like the number one thing that you really need to work on is our mindset. Like learning
Mhm.
our hair and understanding our hair is top priority. That's important. And that's how you should be moving, not wavering, trying this, trying that, doing this, buying that. Because then otherwise, you're just going to spend a lot of money for nothing. And we can, I guess, all all learn from Shelly and her experience. As unfortunate as it was, I feel like you've actually helped a lot of women. You and Rosie and the early women that came out. I know it was a difficult journey for you guys, but at least I hope it makes you feel better that you've helped a lot of women, and even now people are still seeing your content and realizing, hey, hang on, I got to do something differently. I got to pay attention. I blew dry my hair because of everything that's been happening, just to make sure. So you guys have definitely helped a lot of people.
Well, I truly hope people do see it that way, and that they know that we were never trying to cause a rift or cause division or create a situation. Like we just want our best hair,
Yeah.
and we want our girlfriends to have the same. And I know it's been a little messy and sloppy, and for that, I apologize. I wish that the information, I wish this story could have, or situation, I don't even know the words, could have evolved differently.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that we still talked about it and are still talking about it, because there are a lot of people who are hurting, even children. Like, I have gotten DMs about some little girl's hair, and I saw the pictures, and
Mm.
it might be worse than mine.
Oh
And
no.
the mom is talking about she feels like she has to shave her baby's head, and I'm like, you cannot do that. That would be traumatic for that baby.
Yeah.
So when you see me in the past kind of act up the few times I have, it's because I really have been emotionally charged over it and stuff. And it's frustrating anytime I feel like our voices aren't being heard and we're being dismissed, or like certain things are kind of being sugarcoated or tried to be swept under the rug. I'm like, no, let's just deal with it so
Yeah.
that we can fully fix it once and for all. Um, but yeah, I
Yeah.
just hope everybody really knows that and sees that.
Yeah. No, that's very unfortunate. One question that I want to take before we wrap up, and I think that's probably gonna be my last one because I have a baby, y'all. Okay, my boobs lets me know that my baby's ready. um, she says a lot of women who have been pregnant talk about how pregnancy positively affect their hair. Do I think that that could have affected how the regimen worked for me? And with me, pregnancy made my hair feel really thick. And I say this because I just wasn't shedding. Like, hair was not coming off of my head. And I would wash, I would detangle, I would use a brush. Doesn't matter what I use, I would get this amount of shedding, which I knew wasn't normal for me because I used to always track my shedding or at least show it on camera so I could just go back and watch a video and be like, yeah, this is how much hair I used to shed. So that was how it affected my hair. So my strands weren't falling off my head. So it just gave the appearance of being thicker. But then, of course, 3-4 months postpartum, it all fell out. So edges and everything gone, bald. So I wouldn't say it affected how this method worked on my hair because, like I said, I was just using products that were thicker that I know my hair loved. So my hair just like got the shea butter, it got the oils, it got the, I don't know, coconut oil and everything just through formulated products. So it's not like I allowed my hair to dry out. Especially when I was pregnant, I was washing it even more often and doing wash and goes and stuff. So yeah, that's what I would
Mm-hmm.
say when it comes to that.
And Jen, would you argue to say that I think it's important for people to walk away with the notion of, even if you use raw oils and butters, if that's your thing, go for it.
Yeah.
Just know how to properly cleanse your hair. Like,
Yeah.
you can use, what I have learned, another thing is we can use anything we want in our hair as long as we properly
As long as
cleanse.
you reset, do what you want and like reset consistently. And that's the thing. Like, I feel like it's so, it's taboo now to even say you use raw oils. And it's like, what? Do what you want with your hair, what makes you happy, especially when it comes to hair. Like I said, hair is emotional, but hair is like so important for us. At least for me, it's like part of my routine. Like, there's nothing like when I know I'm washing my hair, I do the whole 9 yards. It's skincare, it's body care, like it's all of it, and I feel good after. So I want to enjoy my routine when it comes to doing my hair because it's I don't know, it hits home for me. It's self care. So
Yeah,
do what makes you happy, and if you love your routine, that's how you're gonna do it consistently. If you don't like
yeah.
using raw, and like a lot of people use raw oils, no, well, that was my experience too. I was using raw oils just not knowing that I could go without. So it's just like, I gotta use this, but then my scalp was suffering, but I wasn't understanding that my scalp was suffering because of all the products I was putting and piling on my hair. So now it's
Mm-hmm.
like this problem that I have, that I'm piling more products and oiling my scalp, but then it's causing the very issue that I was experiencing with dry scalp and dandruff and all of that. So, sometimes you just got to do things differently to get a different result, but that doesn't mean you have to jump from one extreme to the next either. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, My scalp, I had never historically had scalp issues, and all of a sudden and I'm not saying it was the method, I think it was the products. I don't honestly know, but my scalp was itching like it felt like I had. Oh, I was about to say, let me back. Mosquito bites. I was gonna say something else that I'd be saying on my lives on Instagram, but
Instagram.
anyways, my scalp was just dreadful. It itched so bad. And since I have changed different things, I don't have any scalp issues
Yeah.
at all. Like my scalp feels great.
Yeah.
So, you
If
know,
your scalp is
it's
flaky, if your scalp is irritated, inflamed, it's talking to you. It could either be products that you're putting on your scalp that's not meshing well. It could be products that you're putting on your hair that's getting on your scalp and is not meshing, like oils. I think oil is actually causing a lot of our scalp issues. We just don't realize it. And it could also be
hmm
internal, and inflammation in the body is going to come or reveal itself as scalp issues, eczema, all of that. And sometimes it's internal. It's not just what
a
we
lot.
pile on the body. Yeah, a lot of the time it's internal. I mean, you can speak on that, given that you have a nutrition slash coaching business on the side. I don't know what Shelly does, but it's just very interesting.
So many things are internal, honey. Yeah,
So many
no,
things.
that's very true. A lot of things can be resolved through what we take in. You know. Yeah.
All right. Well, I thank you guys for joining yet another conversation around this no oil and butter situation. I hope that it was insightful. I hope that it helped at least one person out there to at least tweak your regimen so that it works for you. Hopefully, no one has to go through something like this. And we thank African Hair God for dropping some money. Okay. Hello, $100. He got money. Thank you,
He
African Hair
just
God.
he literally just gave $500 to his followers the other night. He did like a little ref. Anyways, I wow.
Damn, where was
Okay.
I?
Bucks. All right, big bucks.
Right? But we thank you for your knowledge, for doing this. I mean, it's either they like you or they don't, but they weren't going to like you anyway, so it's fine. Don't worry about it, sweetheart. Just keep doing you. We appreciate all the knowledge that you put into the work and knowledge that you share with, Black women and anybody who's been having issues. Shelly, I'm going to let you, shamelessly plug yourself in. Shout out your channel, your Instagram, all of that. And then I'm going to go feed my baby.
Okay, okay. Well, if you want to follow me and follow my journey as it, continues to unfold, I do have a channel here on YouTube. It's Shelly V. 24/7, I think it is. You could just look up Shelly V. Same thing on Instagram. I'm always going live. We have fun girl talk. We don't just talk hair, honey. We be talking life. But I show in real time what I'm doing as I'm doing it. And so I would love to be a girlfriend with you. And yeah, I hope to see you soon. And if you do, hit me up in the DMs and just tell me that you followed me from here, just so I know. Because I get to know the names.
That's right. She going to memorize your name, girl, so be careful.
No, I'm going to be like, who's you? I know who's you.
Well, hopefully people do speak up, because I see someone here that people don't want to speak up about their damage, but you're doing yourself a great dishonor and other people if you don't speak up about what's going on with your hair, because a lot of people just feel like, oh, this is working for thousands of other women. Why isn't it working for me? And in actuality, I guess I don't want to say hit and miss, but it's not, it's a difficult method to follow if you're not in tune with your hair.
Yeah. And it is difficult to speak up, though, just in general, because
True.
you kind of, people see what Rosie and I have kind of gone through,
That's true.
and just sharing our journeys and speaking up on it. So I can certainly understand, not, but there's power in numbers, and if more people speak up, then perhaps people, more of the professionals will step forward outside of the African hair god and natural by Bria and stuff, and like really come to bat for us and help us figure it out from the professional side. But in
I
all
agree.
honesty, with the work that they've done and we've done, I think we pretty much kind of,
Yeah. I mean, I still would love to have a stylist who believes in this method talk about what their experience has been. Have they seen this type of damage in their circle, or what could be done? Say the regular consumer, regular client that's following this, that's having issues, what they can do to kind of mediate or change things before it goes too far. I would love to have that conversation with someone, but at the same time, because I one thing I just don't know if I can believe is the fact that no one around that are seeing these kind of kinky stylists have these type of issues. Like, these stylists are not seeing these issues. Like, I don't know if that's true. Like, you have someone like Black Girl saying, we've never seen this extent of damages with our clients.
So I not being messy. I just, I get nervous almost nowadays because I'm like, oh, I don't want to seem messy. But I will tell you, just from the DMs that I've gotten from clients of different, cut it kinky stylists, that there are several individuals who have experienced damage, and are living with it and trying to rectify their hair.
But the stylists know, or like,
yeah, they told this. They told
Okay.
their stylist, and
You're gonna have to slide in my DMs later, Shell. I'm kidding.
I know. A few people got dropped and were told that they were too difficult.
Oh.
Like, yeah, I was talking to someone today, matter of fact. Like, it just.
Oh, that's unfortunate. But like, why?
Yeah.
That's the part that gets me. Okay, why? I know why. Money. It's always money. But I.
It's right.
I just feel like we all would move forward in a better light if things were acknowledged.
Yeah.
Or actually, that's a good point. African Hair God just said they don't even know how to look for the damage. So it probably comes down to also skill level, right? And I think some just don't know what to do about the damage. And with that, I also want to say that it's okay to say, I don't know. Again, we said this method is new, right? So, and I don't know is an answer. Let me research this and look into it is an answer. Let me figure it out and get back to you is an answer. So I don't think anybody expects stylists to know every single thing there is about hair. We get it. Like, they're just basically, they're doing the same thing we're doing, just with a lot of different heads, just experimenting, trying something new, trying something different. So I don't know is an answer.
Yeah, I don't know can be a very powerful answer. And one of the uncoverings is that I have realized just blowing your hair out sometimes, like African Hair God said, can sometimes isn't enough. When I blew my hair out, my damage was so significant, we could really see it. But as I moved on and I was rehabbing my hair and it got healthier and healthier, we had to actually press it out to really see the remainder of what was left. So there's levels to this now, and we continue to uncover and evolve in it. But yeah. And one last thing, and then I will gracefully bow because I know you got to go feed your baby. But if you guys appreciate these conversations and it's something that you want to continue to see or not, let us know, because we don't want to beat a dead horse into glue. Like, yeah.
I agree. I mean, even I'm just like, I don't know what else to say about this. We've said everything that needed to be said. We hope people are warned. Proceed with caution. Wash your hair and then do what you want to do after that. But we're happy to continue to talk about it. I mean, well, I don't want to say happy, but I just don't know what else. I would love to get concrete, like scientific based, really get down to a deeper level versus like feelings and opinions. I guess that's why I'm like a little exhausted with the conversation, because it seems like something that should be so simple. We should be able to have this conversation with stylists, because the reason why we're here is because we listen to them after not listening to them for like a decade. You know what I mean? So a lot of us are like, well, this is why I don't want to see no stylist. This is why I don't trust them. Because then when we needed them to show up, nowhere to be found.
Unfortunately true. Yes. And that has been a very rude awakening. That I would not have expected that. I would not have
So,
expected that, but it is what it is, you know. And we are making lemons out of lemonade, and honey, it is becoming sweet. So, you know, onwards and forwards.
absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys are enjoying Vlogmas. There's going to be another video in a couple of days. And yeah, I'll see you where I see you.
Yes. Thank you again for having me, Jen. It was nice connecting with you. It's been forever.
I
Don't be a
know.
stranger,
I know. You have to give
especially.
me I have to reach out so you give me all the tea. I feel like I'm missing so much.
I there's always something. There's always something. So yeah.
That's true.
And thank you everyone for tuning in.
All
Appreciate
right.
you.
Have a good night. Bye.
Bye.